What's up? Welcome to the market recap. Today is October 20th, 2025. Or should I say watch list? So I'm going to be changing the format of these videos a little bit. I spend a good bit of time kind of like going through the previous day, even in circumstances where I don't necessarily take a trade. But I'm looking to streamline this process a little bit more, make the videos kind of like a one take, not have to edit them or splice things together, just to make a process simpler for myself. So either way, I'm going to transition them into just being my watch list. If I take a trade, I'll go over the trade I took from the previous session, but I'm not going to review the whole previous session anymore. Mainly just going to go through what I have on watch for the upcoming session, and then I'll go over a trade if I took one. So what I have on watch for tonight is a couple different groups. I have a ZAR group, I have this CAD group, I have a Swiss group, and then a random kind of Euro Singapore. So primary for the ZAR group is this dollar ZAR, but all the ZARs are pretty similar. Very similar price action. I'd like on the 4-hour time frame, dollar ZAR has broken all of these kind of previous lows right here. So a complete break of trend on the 4-hour as well as your 1 hour. The 1 hour's had this rather large run. So the question is like, where do you draw the fib from? I think you could draw it from the 4-hour high if you want to, but if you draw it from all the way up there, like this needs a pretty substantial pullback, but I think it's okay. I think it's fine to draw it from there. I'm choosing to draw it essentially from this 1 hour kind of small pullback right here. Fib levels still fit. I can still position size it well and get stop protection beyond the EMAs. So I think it'll work. Daily time frame, you have like a high test and bearish engulfing on all of these ZARs. Some of them look a little bit better on dailies than others. I think it's Euro ZAR. Yeah, Euro ZAR I like the daily the most, right? Like it's had this real nice rejection of both the 50 and the 200, as well as the bearish engulfing. Euro ZAR, dollar ZAR, pretty equal to me. I just prefer the 4-hour time frame on dollar ZAR, but I prefer the daily time frame on Euro ZAR. So all same, right? Like very similar options here. So it's likely going to depend on what these look like when they pull back, if we get a pullback at some point tonight. So yeah. I also flagged dollar ZAR as primary because I'm anticipating that's going to be the only pair I can trade of this group. I likely won't be able to trade Euro or Pound ZAR until London and New York. So if an entry occurs during Asia, I doubt I'll be able to take it, just from a spread perspective. Next group I got is this CAD group. Kiwi CAD is the primary of this pair. Kiwi CAD, Aussie CAD, similar. Aussie CAD, you do kind of like have this low test, bullish engulfing. So similar to ZAR, just flip-flopped, right? And most of your Aussie pairs look like this. There's not a lot of great price action on the Aussies tonight. This is really the only one I've got flagged. I had a few other flagged, but I've kind of filtered them out. But yeah, most of the Aussies kind of look just like the ZARs do. They have a low test or a high test depending on the pair, and they have like a bearish or bullish engulfing. So the issue here with this Aussie CAD is that yes, you could take this trade. I think since there's not a ton of options tonight, I think it's a valid option. It's got pros and it's got cons. I mean, you kind of have this triple bottom you're trading off of, but you're also essentially trading into a triple top. You can position size this though to take profit before these two previous highs over here. But you got room to move on your daily time frame. You got room to move on the 4-hour. I mean, you really got room to move on the 1 hour. It's just these kind of double tops are my only question, because they also line up with this low over here. So if price stalls right here, I'd like to be out already for my 2. But if price were to push past that, I could see it going back up and kind of retesting highs again. So it's kind of like somewhat of an ATC on my daily time frame. And then CBOs on both the 4-hour and the 1 hour. And then when it pulls back, it'll somewhat be like an ACB on my 10-minute. So interesting. Not primary, but we'll see what happens when price pulls back. Kiwi CAD is just a little bit better price action. I think 1 hour time frame is a CBO, 4 hours an IBO, 10-minute when it pulls back will be like an ACB. The only kind of downside is both these positions are a little tighter than I would like at like 10 and 12 pips respectively. But I think the levels line up just a little bit better on Kiwi CAD. So, but I think Aussie, Kiwi, both similar. So we'll see what it looks like when price pulls back. And then the main trade I'm really interested in taking tonight is this Euro Swiss. Euro Swiss, Pound Swiss, pretty similar. I've been watching, had these flagged on development for a little while now. If you switch to like a weekly time frame, you can start to see it like on Euro Swiss here. You're hitting these all-time lows, like extreme all-time low, lower of the wicks. And every time we've hit this level, we've bounced off of it pretty hard. So I think it's worth a shot at an ABO on this to, at least trade it back up to kind of like the daily 50 or maybe this previous low here. So we'll see. I'm looking for kind of a double bottom. It's a nice deceleration, at least on my 10-minute time frame, obviously backed up on the 2-minute. If I get that and it looks clean and we start to reverse, I'll probably take this trade long. 15 pip stop, 60 pip target for a 4-to-1. So I'm fine with risking 1 to potentially make 4, with also the potential to push this trade even further. Because if you switch it to like a weekly time frame, you could push it to the daily 50, but also this is starting to look like a weekly ABO. So like you could push this super far depending on how long you want to hold it. So we'll see how price kind of reacts. I mean, there's of course the option of like we're making lower lows and whatnot. So it is a descending triangle. Could say that it just breaks the level finally and then the trade fails. But I still think it's probably going to be worth a shot to take it long. And if it doesn't fully pull back, it will, and it does continue to break out, it'll be a nice IBO come tomorrow, right? And if it has a really strong push, it'll be a CBO, IBO, ACB, right? So still potential options to take day trades on this if we don't get the pullback I'm looking for tonight. So Pound Swiss, similar, very, very similar. I get better leverage on Euro Swiss. That's why I'm more interested in taking that pair, but I think the deceleration right here on your like daily time frame looks a little bit better. Like Euro Swiss kind of seems like it's accelerating. It's the only downside. I do like the overall extreme level more on Euro Swiss, but I do like the kind of 4-hour daily price action of deceleration looks a little bit nicer. So, but both pretty similar. Then I have this random Euro Singapore. I'm looking at this trade for kind of a wave 2 play. I have this really overextended wave 1 run on the 1 hour time frame. Beautiful kind of trend here on the 10-minute, right? Just held the EMA all the way down. Now you kind of have market rollover, volatility, spread spikiness going on. So I wouldn't really care about this at the moment. But I'm interested to see what it kind of does at this level, right? What it does here. And that is based off of previous kind of daily highs, right? But you could push a little bit lower to daily highs, and I think that would be fine too. And though that little bit lower, we'll see. I would prefer it to be bouncing off of like the 10-minute, the daily 50. We didn't quite get there, but there is this horizontal level there. All right. So we ended off the horizontal level. We're not really protected by the daily 50. So if it goes down to test the daily 50, this trade would fail. See, I don't know. I really like the 1 hour run, this kind of 10-minute, just super clean trend all the way down. Looking to just kind of play a pullback essentially to the 10-minute 200, daily 200, daily, 1 hour 200, 1 hour 50 kind of area. It's interesting. And it's still bullish on your 4-hour time frame. You're still double bottom, break up, out, and this is a pullback. So you could say this is a wave 1, wave 2, and going into a wave 3 as well. So it's interesting. So keep an eye on it, see what happens. Daily time frame seems like it's decelerating, getting ready for a reversal. So maybe a nothing burger, but it's interesting nonetheless. And then on development watch, watching dollar CAD for a breakdown at some point. Almost kind of had a day trade on this yesterday, but didn't really get the pullback we were looking for until this kind of, consolidation, if not triangle pattern here on your 10-minute, and then a breakout upwards. And then it didn't hold the levels very well, right? It's not really an ACB at this point, more so kind of a micro time frame breakout. So back to waiting for this thing to break back down again. Eventually, I think it'll be a nice CBO on the 1-hour time frame, IBO on the 4-hour, and a pullback to kind of your daily EMAs. So, pound Kiwi. It's almost flagged this pair as a potential something to trade tonight, but it's just the levels are a little weird. Like the pivot doesn't really line up very well. We're bouncing off of the 4-hour 50, the 1-hour 200. We've had this kind of weird price action run. It's very trendy on the 10-minute. I think there's a potential this comes up and retests and then goes lower, but also see the potential trap and price pushes back to the highs and forms a double top before it goes lower. So not too interested in taking it short at the moment. I just want to see it develop a little bit more, but it's getting there. Pound CAD, looking to see if price pulls back and retests the previous high here for kind of like a double top to take this short. Euro dollar, similar to pound CAD, looking for a pullback to the previous highs for a potential short double top. Dollar yen, looking for price to pull back and give a potential double bottom in this area, kind of decent horizontal support on your daily time frame. So we'll see what happens there. Euro yen, I don't know why this is on development anymore. I think I can deflag it. Singapore yen, similar to dollar yen, right? Have this pretty solid daily level. And then now we've come down and have this massive high test or low test. So I think if we get a pullback price-wise, kind of like dollar yen, and get a double bottom here and start to break back out, might be a nice trade long. And I think there's potential to push it to kind of the previous highs here for a daily double top before it fully reverses. And then CAD Swiss, similar to Euro Swiss, Pound Swiss. It's just this price action isn't hitting a level multiple times like Euro Swiss, Pound Swiss. It's just kind of a falling wedge right now and still kind of free falling. There's a potential this is becoming a lower high and a reversal, but I don't think it's enough yet. So, and then Kiwi Swiss, similar to all these other Swiss pairs, kind of waiting for a full breakout here, looking for like a CBO on a 1-hour, IBO on a 4-hour time frame. But both these CAD Swiss, Kiwi Swiss, looking nice for some potential day trade opportunities coming up, obviously, as long with these other Swiss pairs, Euro Swiss, Pound Swiss. Either way, that's my watch list for the upcoming session, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. See you.